Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. Hope you had a tremendous weekend. Appreciate your time sitting down with us. Hope you've had a good day. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything, but if you do go back, get caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours to be posted upon the conclusion of the show, both on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts. Rate, review, share, like, all that good stuff. Love it. Is there a love button? Love it. YouTubers, good on you. Appreciate you tuning in. JCS at 979 ESPNradio.com, the email address. There you go. I've gone through the particulars. A lot going on for if we make the central theme, as we're wont to do around these parts, Florida State athletics, kind of the big picture Florida State athletics. Very busy, achieving. That's right. Very busy, achieving greatness in a lot of areas. That's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing to document, right? It's something to get excited about, something to make mention of. So, for example, you may not think, well, Jeff, I've listened to you for years. You probably don't even know that Florida State, for example, the women's tennis team has advanced to the Elite Eight, which is a program best for them. Oh, I do know that. I just referenced it. Right here in the opener. I thought I'd throw a curveball. I'd zag while you were zigging and give you a little Florida State women's tennis to start the day. Yeah, you didn't see that coming. I also know that the track and field teams, plural, men and women, threw it down and won the ACC championship. Get you some of that? A lot of fast guys and gals out there. Florida State women's and men's track teams dominating. Perhaps you don't know that I know that there's a national championship about to be played for and that we're all very excited to see. Little upstart Santa Clara thinking they're going to knock off the one-seeded Knowles ain't going to happen. That game, by the way, gets underway at 5:30 while this show's still going on. Has me a little out of sorts, but it's a championship game. Florida State looking to bring home another national title. Year in and year out, we figure College Cup, that's nothing. I mean, we've gotten so spoiled, we just know that the women, it's national championship or nothing. They've become a lot like Florida State football in the 90s. Florida State football in the 90s, you began every single season with a couple of questions. Could we go undefeated? That was the first question. And then, if not, who were we going to lose to? How late in the year would that be? And would that still afford us to win the national title? The opportunity to win the national title. That was it. You weren't worried about ACC titles or any of that nonsense. It was a whole bunch of ass-kicking, 2 close games, and can we win the national title? That's what we do now with the soccer program.
Yeah, I said this last week. Since I've been here in Tallahassee 15 years now, the most consistently great program is the soccer program. It's not even close. It really isn't close.
Yeah, they're pretty freaking
College
amazing.
Cup all the damn time. It took a while to
consistent.
break through and win a title, but they were always in the conversation.
Yeah,
Always.
Yeah, they were. You're right. And now we're just littering the campus with national titles if they get another one here.
That's right.
Here we go.
Maybe 3 in 7 years, something like that.
You might not know that I know that softball team of ours has earned the 10th national seed in the NCAA tournament, but I do know that. Now, I'm a little angry at the ladies, half-stepping against Duke, choking it away in the 7th. Not what we do, not for a program of this caliber, of this stature, but again, I don't worry about those little titles. We're trying to win the big titles. So, okay, let's buck up, soldier.
It may have been costly, though, if you're looking for a top 8 seed,
Could have been. And then there is Florida State baseball, which has now won yet another series. And we're a weird baseball program and team right now. There are a lot of things about the program, about the team this year specifically. Let's just stick with that I like. But admittedly, we're kind of all over the map. We can look really bad, and we can look really dominant. Don't usually marry those two things. Not normally. Normally, there's elements of any team has a weakness, any team has its strength, but usually the gap between those two isn't so unpredictable, which is what we are. It's strange, but that is another series win for Florida State. They rally in all these games. Now they couldn't procure all three, but they do take 2 of 3, so that's another series victory. Five straight series victories for Florida State now, and in baseball, that's how I view week in and week out the conversation. Is, are you winning your series? Are you having winning weeks? Are you taking care of business in the ACC? By and large, the answer to that question is yes. I mean, Florida State is 28-19. That's not a great record, but remember, they're playing fewer games this year than they ordinarily would. And they are 19-14 in the ACC by winning that game yesterday and really rallying in the 8th inning to do it against a Clemson team, which is not great, but has been able to hold on to leads past the 7th inning. That Clemson team was undefeated as such, and we came back and beat that team when you had to have it to win the series, and putting up big numbers in that 8th inning and then holding on and getting the win. That's huge. And so, when you play 11 ACC series up, so far through this season, and you've won 8 of them, it's hard to argue with those results. I mean, it's hard to be mad about that. You've won 8. You're 8-3 in series.
Yeah, and if Messick gets back healthy, and, obviously the couple extra days of rest can throw you off your routine. So it could be a couple of things. One, he's not at 100%, and then 2, the routine. As a Friday night guy all season long, you get into all your stuff. You mix him 1-2 with Hubbard, you're in business. Because for Hubbard, all it is getting out of the first inning.
Yeah, and it turned out really for Messick yesterday it was just getting out of that early inning trouble as well.
Correct.
And then he was fine.
I think it probably is a routine thing. I mean, again, these are creatures of habit, especially pitchers. Like, everyday players, it's some days are good, some days are bad. But if you're pitching every 5th day or in college the same day in a given week, you build up to this moment, and you know exactly how your body's going to respond throughout the week. But Hubbard moves up a day, and he shows no problems. This is exactly who he's been on Saturdays, which is you might be able to scratch a couple across in the first inning. Other than that, when he locks it down,
it together, that's your ass.
He locks it the hell down. So now you have 1-2. Grady didn't do so hot on Saturday, but that's all right.
No, he didn't.
Your 3 is going to be a little bit up and down. His ERA is still under 4. But if you have those guys leading the way for you 1-2, and Kwiatkowski continues to pitch pretty well out of the bullpen, really well actually, yeah, you've got a lot of different options that you can play with in a weekend series. It's all about getting out of the regional. I feel like the regional is more risky than the super regional, so hopefully we can get through a good one and get a good draw while we're at it.
Well, and first of all, you're going to go through now with the ACC tournament, and when you project ahead as they continue to improve their seeding and their situation there, that turns out to be a tiebreaker in some cases. So you need to solidify that and put yourself in a good position.
So we can host the regional somewhere else, not in Tallahassee. Yeah, that sounds logical.
But also, it is kind of weird in some cases to watch your RPI fall after you win yet another series, and the team that you vanquish, in certain, depending on where you're looking for this RPI, loses 2 of 3 and their RPI improves. I think that would leave you a little befuddled. It's a weird year. The RPI is messed up this year because the schedules have been altered. I mean, it is strange.
So wait a minute, though. If you're telling me that the RPI is messed up and everyone knows this, then why would the selection committee for host sites go right down the line of the RPI, save for maybe 1 or 2 programs?
Well, the word on the street is that there might not have been anybody from the ACC there to lobby differently. I know that this is the source, I should say, of much angst. Certainly, it would leave one frustrated because the opportunity to make money and to host and do all those things is something that Florida State has embraced and would want to embrace and has really been able to pull off for years and years and years. Typically, when up for a hosting service or job or opportunity, Florida State has always been given that opportunity and succeeded greatly. And so for that to get to see the passed over, as they say, to see that happen,
we ain't even an alternate,
is something.
You could make an argument for it, but I wouldn't stick with the RPI as the argument because, as you just said, the RPI is flawed. There's a lot of intra-conference games across the country, so it's all an echo chamber. That's all it is.
Yes, and it's one of the reasons that I think some argued that you need not play fewer games and all this other stuff. So there's a lot going on there that.
Well, that was always ingenious, the 50-game schedule. Sure, that was great. Really smart.
It's curious.
More opportunities to make money, but okay.
Also, open that thing up. What are we doing?
It's too late now. That was our last home game.
I know.
We're not getting a regional.
I
So
know, but I'm saying, come on, man. What are we?
it'll be open in
Why?
February.
Yeah, come back around. A little frustrating is the way I view that. I mean, what it's time. Let's go. I had an interesting experience. It is. You know, we've talked about this a little bit. You're psychologically affected, and we all are. I mean, it's just you've had to alter, and for good reason. You've had to alter your way of life, and now you're kind of going back. If you've been vaccinated, and I have, you have, and you know, now we're told, hey, feel free, inside, outside, doesn't matter.
That was quick with the CDC.
Was so.
It really wasn't. I don't feel like that press conference was announced. I feel like it was just like, hey, by the way,
You're good to go.
oh,
But it's weird in certain places where you go in, you're kind of like, hey, man, I don't feel like my personal freedoms are being breached. I'm not being an a-hole. It's just that I'm vaccinated. So you just walk in.
well, you got to walk
boldly.
in and you
Yeah.
look for the signage now, and you look to see, all right, how's the management treating this situation?
Yeah, right.
Because if you're relaxed, I am relaxed.
Yeah, no,
Let me
you're
tell you how relaxed I am.
yeah, you're trying to be mindful, but at the same time, like,
So what was the experience? Was it a bad one?
I'm hesitating to go through with it because well, here's the thing. I don't want to name the place, but you know, I did. I stepped boldly into the establishment.
Oh, and they told you?
No, nobody told me a thing.
Oh, okay.
Nobody told me a thing. Everything was fine. But it was sort of you sense there's a weight to it. A little weight to it. That's all there is. Not saying good or bad, just a little weight to it where everybody's checking each other out. It's like at the beginning when everybody was checking each other out for different reasons. Now it's kind of like, you good? It's like the Spider-Man meme. So everybody's kind of, we all good here? You on the up and up?
I think that we should get show shirts, JCS shirts.
With the
Just
Spider-Man.
well, it just says, I'm good. I'm good.
Well, we were when we went to the draft party, for example. What's the next opportunity to do the big gathering? We just had it. That was
Stanley
fun.
Cup playoff game watch party if you want to do that.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, if it's as entertaining as it was last night.
That was incredible last night. We are entering into a hell of a week, man. I mean, obviously, the golf right now, Florida State performed really well this today over at Seminole Legacy. A good day on the course for the Noles. They're off to a ripping start, and things are shaping up nicely. You just got to be one of the best five, right? And they're in good shape right now.
Well, the wheels have been turning. Okay, how about Saturday or Sunday of Memorial Day weekend? You in town? We could do an impromptu baseball gathering somewhere. Just watch baseball.
I'm down with watching baseball. Gathering and watching baseball. Yeah, sure. By the way, I got the text this morning from a dear friend of ours, former producer extraordinaire, Matt Millar. He thinks it's funny to send me this. I mean, I know he does.
Uh-oh.
No, listen, no, it's not that kind of a...
Don't show the YouTube camera.
Not that kind of a text. So this is, there you go, there it is. He sends, look at this picture he sends me. That's good radio, everybody. Look at that picture. For those at home,
The state's about to be on fire.
it's a picture of the state of Florida, satellite picture of the state of Florida, and it says high pressure bringing in the heat next Monday, and then underneath it says hundreds in Florida. He thinks it's funny to send that to me bright and early this morning because he was reading about it on whatever spaghettimodels.com he's looking at.
Oh, he's all about Mike's weather page.
Mm-hmm. Is that your page too? You like that place?
You got to have the rounds. You know, your big 3 or 4 when it's time to forecast and say, am I, evacuating or not? It's always been a concern for the station as well. It's like, is the transmitter about to get destroyed? Need to know.
Dry skies and hot air will be rolling into the south and east, especially for the state of Florida this weekend into early next. Could see some 100 soon. Why do you send that to me in the morning? You got to be that a-hole. Sending that to me. Hey, good Monday to you too, pal.
I say bring it. I can't get my damn pool warm enough. It's too deep.
No,
so there you go. Those hundreds get it real warm.
Don't bring hundreds. Don't bring hundreds around here.
I'll warm it up real fast.
I've been in a real good mood. The world doesn't revolve around your ability to get into some tepid water at your house, Tom. We're trying to be out here enjoying things, okay?
It's how does this benefit me most?
No,
right?
no. And it's not going to benefit you because your pool will go from cold to nice to, God, dog, it's a sauna in here. I don't want to get in the pool. That's what's going to happen.
Try me, I say. Try me.
All guests appear via the Phone Hero hotline. Phone Hero specializing in iPhone and iPad repair. 2 locations, 2915 Cary Forest Parkway, 833 West Gain Street. Online at phoneherotlh.com. Remember when Kelvin Benjamin arrived here on campus? Big old fat ass, ragingly overweight. We couldn't believe our eyes. We thought, how in the world is this guy going to play wide receiver? It was like when Jameis was playing baseball at the end of football, just looking like he's eating a sandwich right before he throws a slider. Well, he might get his wish. He's out there working it at tight end. The Giants are interested. We'll talk about it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. All right, Kelvin Benjamin, I mentioned a moment ago, maybe in unflattering terms. I didn't mean it meanly. I mean, Kelvin would admit he was a big jelly of a man when he got here. Frumpy, fat.
It was surprising, yeah. I was there for the first day of fall camp, and
We were all appalled.
his gut was just hanging out. I was like, oh, well, he's
Yeah.
not playing this year.
No, he was not at wide receiver. But the funny thing about Kelvin Benjamin is that obviously so uniquely gifted that's a guy that the sense was if he ever just put it together, if he just tried real hard one time, he'd be well on his way to the league because people aren't built like that. Most people ought not be preternaturally gifted in the sense that they're fast at 6'5", 250 pounds that could jump out of the gym. He had all those things.
So the standard is much higher now for all of these programs and their social media teams, but Florida State was okay at it, not bad, just before the national title year. And remember the spring workouts and summer workout videos that they put out, and KB was doing the ropes. He was doing the battle ropes.
That's right.
And it had shown clearly that he lost a ton of weight, like a lot.
That's when you knew.
That's when you knew, ooh, it's on.
Well, I'll give you inside baseball here. I used to, you guys all know this. I'm not doing it to bring it up again and again and again because people get tired of this. We do this as a fan base, but it is applicable in this situation. Jimbo and I had countless conversations about personnel, not because I was somebody he wanted to confide in, but because I interviewed him every week. And so we would sit down and I'd ask him about players or segment groups. Just he understood. I was trying to get context to come on the air and talk about where we were. And Jimbo also had his guys. Right, he had guys that he loved in ways, and this kind of got him in trouble down the line because he didn't mete out discipline evenly across the board. If you were one of his guys, you might have been treated differently than some of the other guys, and that caused friction in the locker room. Anyhow, that's an aside. Kelvin was always one of his guys for whatever reason. I think it was partly because he kind of viewed him as a diamond in the rough. The kid hadn't played a ton of football, had kind of really seemed indifferent about it, but he was so uniquely gifted and so, I don't know, he had a tough life, okay? He had a tough go of it down south. And so Jimbo has a savior complex like a lot of coaches do, and there's nothing wrong with that because a lot of times it is certainly in the player's best interest to have a coach who recognizes something in them, dedicate themselves to bringing that out of you, and you listening to them because they will open doors for you that otherwise are not going to open. Especially if you're just an average student who doesn't care about school or isn't going to football practice because you don't even care about the sport, but that person sees something in you. Or a coach reaches out to a college coach and say, I got this kid, man. If we can get him right, if we can get him to understand that he's got an opportunity, when that relationship happens, when they form that bond, then that coach is invested because he knows the alternative could be devastating. He cares, A, that it's going to help his football team without question. It's not all about just having the kindness of your heart well up and wanting to do for others. It's about winning. They want to win. They know the kid can really help them on the football field. But they also know that, again, that kid has a chance to make millions of dollars, and he's unlikely to have that chance in any other capacity if he doesn't make this decision right here and now to commit to something like this. And so once it happens and you form that bond, you'll see coaches will go to the edge of the earth for these kids. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes, though, kids screw up again and again and again. I'm not saying Kelvin did, but some kids do, and you can't save them. And yet coaches will try to the program's detriment, to their own reputation's detriment, so on and so forth. So early on I learned with Coach Fisher to listen to the context clues. Was this one of his guys? Was this somebody he had gone down and personally talked to? Was this somebody he had identified as a potentially really good player, but somebody who maybe needed saving, something along those lines? And Kelvin was one of these guys that he would talk about and say, I got a guy coming in that you just don't see every day. He's a freak. And if I get him, and Coach would say it. If I get him, we're going to win. We're going to win the championship. You can't stop him.
Yeah, I was in the war room the day that his signature came in, and he said he's going to be better than anybody I ever had at LSU.
Yeah.
And he had Michael Clayton, who went on to
he
win
had
Rookie of the Year,
superstars,
and others. But he said better than any of them. And he's like, name them. You can't name one that could be better than him.
Because none of them were 6'5", 250 that could run like that.
Right,
None of them looked like that. He has hands the size of Texas. He's ridiculous. And He just didn't necessarily care all that much about football. And so you had to try to find a way to get the light turned on, man, and get a kid to buy in. And I always found that process fascinating. So I raised an eyebrow today when I saw that Kelvin Benjamin is in the midst of a comeback story. And I root for him. I'm rooting for him to make this happen because he was always one of these guys. In a weird way, I wish I could read this about Carlos Williams. Carlos Williams was one of the greatest athletes I've ever witnessed with my own eyes. One of the greatest athletes I have ever seen. Nobody should look like that. Nobody should be that big and run that fast and have that sort of athleticism while being that, dense. I mean structurally. I mean, like having the body type like that. I mean, it was insane. Remember the jump cut you and I watched in the end zone?
Jump cut. That was fourth quarter Miami.
Yeah, it was insane.
That was the 41-14 game.
It was so subtle.
Yeah.
It was, and you're like, well, that's in there. You've got that. Remember, he could play
wasn't his
safety,
position.
linebacker, running back. You could have put him anywhere.
Yeah, that jump cut is not his natural position. That he could do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why he immediately was one of the touchdown leaders in the NFL.
Right, and then just ate himself out of the league. So here's the thing. When you see guys like that who have, again, as I described earlier, preternatural ability, you're like, oh, man, get the most out of that, please. Part of it is that we just wish for a moment we had some of that. But honestly, you want to see them get the most for themselves, to have that chance to really cash it in. And Kelvin Benjamin arrived here grossly out of shape, nothing short of obese. And you thought, oh, I don't know, man, this is going to be an interesting project. I don't know that he's going to get that kid to care enough. And even if he does, at the time, we were talking about maybe he'll be a tight end. He's just so big boned. He's a big kid. Maybe he'll just be an elite tight end.
Oh, yeah, a package player for the red zone.
Right. As it turns out, obviously, he did have one magical year, and he helped us win a national title. And when he cared to play and when he was in shape and when he committed himself, he was indeed unstoppable. And Jameis knew it, and Jimbo knew it, and really opposing defenders knew it too.
Well, stats be damned. What was his best game?
The best game?
The best game he played for us.
Florida.
Yep.
He's throwing people into the bench.
Mm-hmm. Because he got
pissed off.
He was mad.
Well, he was getting he was getting thrown around early on. Officials didn't call it. He was like, "Oh, we're going to be men out here today." Oh, okay. You want to throw somebody around? Yeah, and then he did. He proceeded to throw people around, and it was awesome because, in fairness to that official, he swallowed his whistle both ways that day, and that was not a benefit to Florida's defensive backs. Like, man, that's like letting Anquan Bolden decide he's going to get physical with you today. Good luck with that, guys.
You're going where he tells you you're going.
That's how that's going to work. Yeah. So the Giants announcing they have signed Kelvin Benjamin now to following a tryout at rookie minicamp this past weekend. Ian Rappaport reporting that Benjamin, and by the way, just to get you caught up, Kelvin, of course, has not been in the league since 2018. He's going to play tight end. Okay. He's a big dude. He has a longtime believer in the Giants building as well. That is Dave Gettleman, who drafted Benjamin for the Panthers with the 28th overall pick in the 2014 draft. Obviously, initially, he was not disappointing in the league. He went out and played exceptionally well, caught 73 passes for over 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns in his rookie season. He missed the next year with the torn ACL, but he came back strong after that. 63 receptions, 941 yards, 7 touchdowns in 2016. They exercised his fifth-year option. Then they traded him to the Bills, did Carolina, in the 2017 campaign. He struggled there, didn't like it, was released 14 months later. He closed out 2018 playing 3 games for the Chiefs. I had forgotten about that.
Me too.
He's now 30 years old, and he'll join a very crowded room of tight ends. Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Caden Smith, Toliolo. So we'll see.
That's right. They have Kyle Rudolph now, too. Mm-hmm. And Ingram is one of the athletic freaks of the position, which is littered with them now in the NFL, but that's a tough room to crack.
So it'll be interesting to find out if he can catch on and the comeback story can continue. I'll root for the young man, now 30 years old. He's a grown-ass man. But, big tight end.
Man, I wonder if Gettleman's just doing him a favor to put some film out there because I don't think that he would come in to be a blocking tight end.
Well, no, he's not blocking anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a unique package.
If you're right, phrasing. But if you're looking at that depth chart, you've got guys that are pass catchers. So what exactly different are you?
Maybe he's a better version of that, though. I mean, if he's really
Yeah.
in shape, I mean, he's probably a better pass catcher than
Maybe
anybody
they
else
want
in
to
that
unload
situation.
Ingram if they can and get something
Yeah,
for him.
I don't
That's
know.
weird.
It would be interesting. We'll see what he does. Although, you just got me thinking before we go to break here. If you recall, Kelvin Benjamin is also the source of one of the great memes or video clips that we've ever had, just destroying that poor punk for the Canes in the end zone.
That's correct. Also somebody who got him mad enough to do something
That he
about
just
it.
decided
Yes.
we're done with this. Don't piss him off. I mean, just keep him quiet.
It didn't happen often, but when it did, he would go places.
Well, I mean, just runs straight out and just mauls that poor kid. I mean, well, I say that poor kid. He looked like a child compared to Kelvin Benjamin, and he got thrown.
That's that same part of the field as LaRon Bird, too. Miami doesn't like that part of the field.
It's just, go find Kelvin Benjamin blocking that Canes DB. It's just ruthless. It's out of nowhere, too. It's just sort of like, okay, you've pissed me off. I've decided now to make
It's
you
funny,
feel like
too,
a
because
child.
I think in consecutive years, that looks like that was 13, just judging by the uniforms. And we're wearing the garnet that day. But the year before was when Timmy Jernigan hip-tossed Feliciano.
Just tossed him and didn't get called for
No,
it.
there's no call.
No call. Just get you some
So
of
you're
that.
going to continue to engage?
You know?
You're going to the ground.
Well, we shall engage.
That's
That's
fine.
how this is going to
Yeah.
go. Let's engage. This is how this is going to work. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I don't know, man. Every time I see a quote from Dan Campbell, that's the Lions coach, I think they may not be in good hands.
Oh, no.
Well, I just read this during the break. It wasn't even going to be a segment. I just read it during the break, and I had to do a double take on the headline, and I kind of thought, well, this is curious indeed. And he said some dumb things already, and he had a terrible press conference, and
Yeah, he lost the opening press conference.
it's
right?
impossible to lose the opening press conference, and he
tough.
did. And now you're just kind of like, well, I don't know, buddy. Also, I was thinking about the existence of the Lions and their fans. God, dog, that is a toughie.
They were the first domino to fall the year that there was craziness in the NFC playoffs, though, because the Cowboys committed like 4 PI infractions. None of them were called. And so the Cowboys barely win. Then the next week, the Cowboys go up to Lambeau, and that's the Des Cotted game. So the Cowboys lose. Then Green Bay goes on, and that's the game where Russell Wilson throws like 5 picks and weeps at the end because they come all the way back. They get the onside kick.
Well, Jesus helped him.
That's correct. He spoke to him.
Yeah.
He heard his voice.
Right.
But the Lions, that's about the closest they've come to the sun of the promised land in some time, was to be the first domino in that wild sequence of that playoff run.
Well, I just think they've been, it's like 50 years since they've done anything. Literally, since they've done anything. It's just time and again. And you're like, man, are you ever going to get better at all? And I don't think so. It doesn't feel like that's destined to get better.
Well, maybe Jim Harbaugh can save them.
Oh, well, they hired Dan Campbell, Tom. And they just did. And I'm not real sure. Here's the quote. Even if you, I haven't seen the video, so maybe I need more context here, but you got to know how these headlines are going to read. And, here it is. Lions Dan Campbell dreams about having a pet lion at practice. What are we doing? What are we doing?
So he's going for the Mike Leach thing in the NFL?
What's going on? So then I thought, okay, well, now you got me. That's a great headline. All right, I'll read what this dumbass say now. Campbell has some very eye-opening quotes in his first few months on the job with the Lions, somehow finding ways to top them every time he speaks. The latest one demonstrates how bad Campbell wants to win a Super Bowl for a franchise that hasn't won a championship since 1957. They have just one playoff victory since 1957. So I wasn't kidding. They have one playoff victory since 1957.
I've seen the Lions play a playoff game. It was at Houlihan Stadium,
yes.
and they lost to the Bucs. But I have seen the Lions in the playoffs. Not many people can say that.
Yeah, no, they've won one playoff game since 1957. I don't know. They get overlooked. A lot of times, like the sad sap, sorry-ass franchise that gets mocked is Cleveland. There are several others. But
the Bucs before recently.
Multi-time Super Bowl champion Bucs, you meant to say. But, this is...
You're right. That's what I meant to say.
2-time Super Bowl champions. Within the last 19 years, 2-time Super Bowl champions. Not one playoff game win since 1957. Very big difference.
I'm not saying I was the one picking on the Buccaneers.
Well, it'd be a terrible comparison since the two don't really belong in the same sentence. Now, the head coach, Dan Campbell for the Lions, wants a pet lion at Lions practice in his first season on the job, explaining how it could motivate his team. He said this on the Pardon My Take podcast. A legit pet lion on a chain, a big-ass chain, said Campbell. We literally just walk around the building, go out to practice. On 7-on-7, we're behind the kicker when he's kicking. On command, you can train him. Like if one of our groups isn't doing well, you can take him over to their section, have him defecate where they are at, and bring him on back. Think about it. It would be outstanding, he went on to say. I don't even know what to say.
Can you read that again, please?
Well, yeah, I'll read it exactly as it reads. It's not good. There's no curse words. It's just
defecate is literally the word he
no,
chose?
No, he said take a dump. That's what he said. Those are his words. Campbell would love to have the line, but knows it's a dream considering how it would mess with the workplace. And it's insane.
Well, I don't get the bring the head comb.
I don't know if the team is going to allow that, but we would take great care of it. It would be fed well. It would be petted. It would be manicured. I may end up losing an arm because of it, but that would be even better because it would validate this is a creature. This is an animal. This is from the wild. Do you think that they've thought about firing Dan Campbell before he coaches a game?
Well, I don't get the bring the head comb.
I think I'd think about firing him. And the people who interviewed him and decided to give him a job.
Yeah, that would be the first person you'd fire. Like, you do that now, and then you can assess whether or not you want to fire Dan, because you got to bring him in and say, listen, is this an act to distract from the fact that we're going to be bad? Are you trying to do like something wacky so we can get some merchandise sales out of this? Like, what is your angle? And if he doesn't, like, if he's still staring out into space like Adam Gase at his introductory press conference,
Wide-eyed?
right, then you know that you need to fire him. But if he's like, yeah, it's all part of a ploy, here's where I'm going with it, I've got to distract from all the pressure there's going to be on these guys, then I'd say, all right, could you tone it down a little bit? I see where you're going, but live Lions on, I got PETA calling me every 10 minutes, Dan.
But also, I mean, you have to know. I get you're trying to be funny on a podcast, and that's not funny. There's not any context by which that would be funny. Like, you wouldn't, Dan, you're crazy. Like, that wouldn't happen. It's not funny. And I don't even mean that like being overly serious. I'm like, it's just not funny. It's cliche and silly. You sound ridiculous. You sound like a meathead. So it's just sort of this. I don't know if you know this, Dan, but football coaches have progressed now. They're actually really bright guys oftentimes, and it comes across when they discuss strategy in football. They might get a sense that they have a plan, far-reaching plan.
Yeah, but I mean, if you think about their previous hire, they got a guy who looks like he does, and Matt Patricia, who called the media slobs. So they need to dress nicer for the press conferences.
You know, it's like they're cursed. It's like they're cursed, and I don't believe in curses. It's as if they're cursed. Like, they can't get it right. You're just like, Jesus, man.
Well, I don't get the bring the head comb.
Dan, you're on a podcast. You're trying to be shocking. You're trying to be witty. You're trying to be humorous. I know you're not serious. You don't really want us to have a tiger. Do you? Do you want us to have a tiger, Dan? Be careful how you answer that. So I know you're kidding, and you don't really want a tiger.
It would be a lion.
Or a lion, sorry. Either way. And, you know, okay, I got it. But here's the deal. Those quotes are going to be taken from that podcast. You understand how this works. And they're not going to be in context. They're not going to hear the subtext. They're not going to, people are going to read that headline, your name alongside our franchise logo, and you talking about a lion taking a dump by a segment group that's not performing well.
I think people should appreciate that you tried to censor what he said, given you're never afraid to say pretty much anything. And
right, but that's just crass. What are we doing?
It's our favorite Tampa website. I'm sure they appreciated it because
but it's just ridiculous.
You could search their blog posts by just
Yes.
using and then you'd find like 97 articles.
No, I just don't.
In the last 6 months.
Man. It's just. But I think more than anything, and I have a dear friend who is a Lions fan, and he's a great guy, and it was just his birthday. Happy birthday, Brian. But, that's his team. Wouldn't you just be driving down the road today going, there it is?
Well, I've never talked to him about his Detroit Lions love.
He loves them. He's from up there. He's diehard. He's loyal. He's
It's
a great
still
fan.
diehard? Like, at some point,
I
apathy is
assume.
absolutely reasonable in a situation like that.
I know Brian well enough to know that he's hoping he's watching part of the build towards a day where that's not the case. I'm a Pirates fan. I mean, Now, I'll grant you, we had 3 straight years where we made the playoffs relatively recently, and I have seen them win a World Series in my lifetime. It's been a minute, but,
Well, I mean, but at what point would it be okay to say, I might take
Well-
a year off because for the Knicks, with me, I gave up on the Knicks. Larry Brown and Isaiah Thomas and Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson, I mean, good
Yeah, that was
God.
bad at the end.
That's a 15-year span
Hmm.
that they've made these hires. And the guy doesn't want to. Dolan's awful.
Yes, he's
like
a terrible human being. Yes.
so that they're a 4 seed. Whoop-de-doo. I'm not going to watch a single Knicks game in the playoffs. I don't care.
You might watch
I don't care.
a Knicks playoff game. They're a 4 seed.
By accident, I might.
Yeah.
You know, if they make it to the second round and I have to watch it because we need to talk about it, okay, fine. But I'm not rooting for the Knicks. Like, I got to wait till that guy's gone.
It is interesting the hold that franchises, especially professional franchises, have on us because obviously you're rooting for a jersey. You're rooting for the name of a city. I mean, that's it because guys come and go. And the loyalty of a player to a franchise and frankly a franchise to a player is virtually nil. It's not as if it was when we were kids where guys would spend their entire careers in one place. And that was kind of normal. You know, Mean Joe Green wasn't going to play for anybody other than the Steelers. You know what I mean? Now, I know we saw later on through free agency, Joe Montana ended his career in Kansas City, and that was kind of shocking to see. Emmitt Smith leaving the Cowboys seemed kind of stunning to watch him carrying the ball for the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, these kinds of things where you're like, what in the world? But, I mean, for the most part, yeah, you are just rooting for your city or for a jersey that represents your city. But I am incredibly loyal to my teams. I mean, I don't know what it would take for me to stop rooting. Probably where if the owner got caught up in something criminal
Right.
that I abhorred.
Yeah, it's
you know.
it's ownership. The Mets really pushed the envelope there.
Yeah,
but
well,
like
for
Dolan
example-
pushed it over the edge. And if you're a Lions fan, at what point? I would think it's beyond a reasonable point now where nobody would blame you if you're like, I'm just taking a break from Lions football this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You already
Robert,
kind of do anyway.
yeah,
but-
Robert Nutting with the Pirates is pushing the envelope with me. I mean, he's using that great city, its fans, and its tradition.
One playoff win since 1957, I think, is enough of a reason to say, hey, man, you know, if you just want to buy a single game ticket and wear a polo from another organization, doesn't have to be an NFL team, but like
I don't know. I think
wear your Michigan polo, you know, check out the Lions game.
it's tough because once it's in your blood and you grow up with a team and that's your team and you love it. I mean, yeah. I feel for fans like that, though, and I'm not ripping the fans. I'm not ripping the fans of Detroit. If I'm a Detroit fan today, and listen, this is about fandom, less so than about Detroit. Just the nature of fandom and how funny it is for all of us. I bet the modern fan, the younger fan, does not sense any sense of loyalty, does not feel the sense of loyalty that maybe older fans like us do. I say us, I'm older.
I feel I got no problem with the idea of loyalty. The Bucks didn't win a playoff game after the Super Bowl until this past year, and I was never going to waver away from that.
Yeah.
You know, not even another 10 or 15 years. But there are some things where I would say to another fan, I wouldn't look down upon them. And I think my Lions fans that are my friends, you know.
Like you've had it pushed to the brink.
You want to wear like a Stevie Y jersey to the game? You go ahead, man. You just want to see what happens? Like,
Now, I have
that's-
always said this: if my team leaves the city,
Yeah,
that's it. I'm done.
you're a free agent.
I'm free agent. I'm not rolling with you. If Pittsburgh were to leave Pittsburgh, I'm not rooting for the Pirates in San Jose. I'm not. I mean, it's not happening.
That could be a really fun hat, though.
I'm not doing it. Not rooting for you. And if the Bucks left Tampa, not rooting for you. No, but you know, I don't know who I'd root for, but frankly, I'd probably become a Dolphins fan.
You and your dad.
Yeah, I
After
probably
all this time, he'd say, after all this
welcome
time.
aboard, son. Yeah, I probably would. I guess. I mean, I'd probably have to do that.
Across town.
to Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good Monday again to all of you. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Jeff. That is Tom. Director Matthew. Recording the proceedings. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Stream it there. You can listen on the old-fashioned radio, which is always a good thing. You can also watch it on YouTube. Thanks to all of our YouTube followers. And if you want to email, feel free, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Bringing my man Ira here in a second. All guests appear via the Phone Hero hotline. Phone Hero specializing in iPhone and iPad repair. 2 locations, 2915 Cary Forest Parkway, 833 West Gain Street. Online at phoneherotlh.com. In fact, let's do it as we're wont to do on Mondays. Irashfel, warchant.com, the website. Hello, Ira. How the hell are you, buddy?
I'm great, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm good. Were you surprised to see? I know we both know a certain individual who is enraged by the news that Florida State will not be hosting regional. Were you surprised to see that they were not selected, despite a decent little run here lately? They've now won. What is this now? I think 8 of the 11 series they've played in the ACC. They've won 5 straight series. It's not like they're trending downward. They're also not elite, but I was kind of surprised to see they were not selected.
Yeah, I mean, especially because, it seemed like, at least in the pre-COVID era, it seemed like, programs that have had success through the years usually, are kind of rewarded for that. So Florida State, it's not like Florida State's kind of from under the radar. They're a program that perennially hosts, and the only time usually they don't is when it's clearly they don't have the resume. And, I think you could stack their resume up with some of the teams that are hosting. What's weird is, no one really knew all season what to make of the RPI and some of the other metrics because of this weird year. And so, I think Mike Martin Jr. and people thought that the RPI would be devalued because you have so many teams playing so many different numbers of games and different kinds of schedules. And because the RPI has been weird this year, it doesn't really seem to make sense from week to week how teams go up and down. They did. It seems very much like they did use the RPI as the primary.
We're going to have to call Ira back. He's in the midst of a good explanation for what's going on with the RPI, unfortunately. He's right about that. That nobody seems to be able to make sense of it. It's been frustrating, and I will say this: starting probably a couple weeks ago, there were people around the program who were growing to get concerned, no matter how Florida State was going to play, about certain aspects of all of this, and wondering whether or not they could reliably project that they were going to host based on historical significance and relevance and where they were currently at within the ACC. So what's interesting about that is they're actually, again, top 4 in the ACC. To not host, given what they've been historically, is awfully odd. We've got Ira back, I believe.
We do. He's got one bar, even though he's in a place he always has the call, so just in case. So we'll give
Hunker in there, Ira. Stand still right under that light post or that tree or wherever it is that you are, and we'll see if we can make this happen. All right, welcome back. You were in the midst of explaining that the RPI is unreliable, and the frustration is, it's obviously present amongst those Florida State faithful that figured Florida State almost by birthright would be hosting.
Yeah, I actually just walked outside. So you may have to deal with some birds.
Oh, I love birds. Love birds. All right.
You may have the occasional car drive by, but hopefully it'll hang in there. But, I think that there was, again, like Mike Martin Jr. and some other people felt like the RPI would kind of be ignored or minimized because it seems so out of whack this year, and it didn't seem to the formula and the algorithms didn't seem to understand what was happening this season. But sure enough, it seems like they really went by that, and it's again, now we know, but I don't know what Florida State really could have done about it. I mean, just this past weekend, Corey's writing a column that we'll put up on the site probably this evening or tomorrow morning. Just that this past weekend, Florida State goes and takes 2 out of 3 against Clemson, and they drop spots on Sunday. It just doesn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad that Corey's writing a column, and we'll have to read that on warchant.com. But I was trying to get a sense of why that was. Do you have any inkling? Or I don't want to give away the column, I guess, but I can't figure out why that would be. If you just steady win series, and Florida State's won 5 straight series in the ACC now, why is it you would drop?
It doesn't seem to make any sense. Again, especially, I think on Sunday, Florida State won that game, and I think Florida State dropped spots, and Clemson went up spots.
They did.
Because I guess because it was a road game against a quality opponent. I don't know, man. The RPI, it's been years now that the college baseball coaches have been trying to send the message that the RPI is not should not be used as the primary tool, and it seemed like they were maybe kind of going away from it somewhat. But then here you go in this year where it clearly doesn't seem to make any sense. I mean, Florida State will be. There's been times this season where Florida State was ranked in the top 15 or top 20 nationally, but then it's 60 or so in the RPI. It just doesn't seem to make any sense. The biggest problem is I just don't think the coaches. It's not, some years you could say, okay, if a team has a 4 RPI, okay, well, you need to schedule better. You need to play some road series. You need to play, but this is a year where the ACC only allowed their member schools to play 50 games. So the ACC's schools were really kind of behind the 8 ball. And as you see that with how they did in the SEC seemed to just, come up roses, and the ACC got all the thorns.
Do we know? I had heard that there wasn't. I don't know if this is 100% accurate or not. Maybe you can tell me. Did the ACC not have anybody there on their behalf in the committee?
That's the word. I mean, I haven't seen the official list of the ACC committee, but from what I understand, that the ACC doesn't have anybody on that committee this year. And I think the famous one we all remember was when FSU's Charlie Carr was on the committee.
Yes, indeed.
And they got stuck facing Texas in the Super Regional.
I'm still pissed about it.
So
still
that
pissed
doesn't
about
always portend success, but that's certainly something I think frustrating for FSU folks. If the ACC did not have somebody on the committee.
Let's go through this really quickly. Of all of the successes over the weekend or the last several days, what catches your eye most? Is it the wild consistency, year in and year out, domination of Florida State soccer, who in a little over an hour and 20 minutes or so will compete to win a national title against Santa Clara? Is it that track and field is back and dominating again as both the men and the women win the ACC championship? Is it Florida State tennis getting to the Elite Eight for the women? First time that's ever been done. We got a lot of successes out there. The softball's a 10 seed. That we're used to them actually being a little bit better. But is there anything that you would touch on? Because there's a lot of Florida State successes in the last 7 days, and I don't want to overlook them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the track was, very impressive because, like you said, that program was at the pinnacle of the sport, and kind of had a tough stretch there. And now they've kind of worked their way back up there. To sweep in the ACC Outdoors is a big deal. But at the end of the day, it's still conference. And, I think I still look at FSU soccer and the fact that, they lost, possibly their best player it basically between the end of their regular season in the fall, and then took all this time off. She went pro, and they took all this time off and then get back in the NCAA tournament. And now here they are playing for the national championship again. It would be the third one, in a decade. I mean, it's really a remarkable story. So I would go with that, even though it's not necessarily surprising. They're the number 1 seed. You'd like to think they could make it to the championship round. But again, just it just accentuates again what that program has become.
It's got to be where we're so spoiled. I said this to Tom earlier. I say it every time the soccer team comes up. I'm like, we don't even pay attention to them when they're just steady dominating the ACC and winning and putting themselves in position, another college cup appearance. We're kind of like, just wake us up when it's the national championship game. We know that's kind of the be-all, end-all. I actually compare it a little bit to the way that it used to be with Florida State football in the 90s, where the schedule would come out and you're like, okay, will they go undefeated? That's kind of, that's right. That's what you did. That's what Coach Krikorian has built for Florida State soccer now. It is rather remarkable. My brother, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well. It's always good. And, I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
All right, take care. I wanted to update, Tom, you and I were talking at the start of the show. Our good friend, Trey Jones, is texting me to let me know that the men are dominating here. 17 under. Mm-hmm. That will get it done.
6 clear of the next closest program, which is Georgia Tech from day one.
Georgia Tech, yes, that's correct. So there they are, Seminole Legacy showcased today, and a hell of an afternoon for Florida State, the host team there. For those that, I should have added that to the list of people that I'm praising from FSU to start the hour each hour today because that is.
Well, that's how you start. You make a 7,500-yard course in Seminole Legacy that I've played, and it's a lot of fun. And I can't imagine how much they got the greens up in terms of speed. They make it look like it's playing 6,800 because everybody was going low. The young guys, the veterans. They've got, I think, 4 players, as of a couple hours ago when I was looking, 4 players who were either tied for 4th or better in this tournament. That's how you go run away. And if it's the threshold is the top 5 move on to the next round to the NCAA championships out
You're
in
in a good
Scottsdale,
shape,
and you're through day 1, and I think they're 14 shots clear of 5th place. Yeah, man.
Yeah, 5th place.
Or 6th place at that
Let's
point.
see.
Yeah.
You got, okay, so in order, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Liberty, Ohio State, Georgia. That's the way that looks right now for the first 5. Then Kansas is at even par. So Florida State is.
Yeah, they got as low as minus 21 or a little bit better today. They were absolutely on fire. And that's what you should do. You know, you build a course like this with a vision that you're going to be able to host events, both college and pro. Last time Trey was on, he was talking about either a senior tour event or a Corn Ferry event coming to Tallahassee. That'd be amazing.
Oh, buddy.
But you do that so you can have these types of events and then flex your muscle and your home course advantage, and that's exactly what we've done through day 1.
Well, he made the point, though, that you could not just walk out there and make certain assumptions about how well you would play, that you would have to assert yourself early on. That course plays hard. I mean, they've had days where I'm sure at practice they don't play well there. I mean, it's a difficult course, depending on the weather conditions, et cetera. You don't know. And a lot of good teams come in here riding a high, having played well, having won tournaments of their own that suggest that they've got a chance to come in and play well on your course. So it's great. There's an added pressure, too, to hosting, I always think. And I don't know, Trey has talked about the benefits of hosting and how much it can help you, but also the pressures that come with that. I will say this, on that course, being as new as it is and as difficult as it is, understanding every nook and cranny where not to hit the ball certainly matters in a way that maybe it wouldn't in some other courses that all these schools have played numerous times before, right?
Well, I can tell you, just as somebody who's played it only the once, but the green complexes are such that that rule is in place. Rules like that every single hole about where not to leave it.
Where not to leave it.
Where your tee shots need to land to give yourself the best opportunity and the best landing area, the best angles.
It's like when young players go to Augusta National for the first time. It's like you have got to take in as much information as you possibly can because it's not just about the yardage. It's not just this hole is this long, I can hit it this long, so I'm going to do this, this, and this. No, you're not. No, on this hole, you're going to hit it here so that you actually have a chance to hit it onto this part of the green there. It's not it's not what you normally do.
A lot of our friends are out there today. I can't encourage people enough to go out and check out Legacy. If you haven't been there to play it yet and you really want to see the grounds, why don't you watch? This is a professional event. The top players in this event are all going pro. So essentially you're watching a Futures PGA event. If you're not a Florida State fan, you live in Tallahassee, go check out the grounds. You're going to be amazed.
Yeah, a lot of PGA Tour players in the making, and you can say, I saw them win. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Where I worked out today, and it was a doozy, but a good one. You feel better afterwards, I'll tell you that. Beginning to open up full capacity. More room for people who are wanting to get in. Perhaps maybe you've grown a little frustrated when they had classes that were only half of what they would ordinarily be. Sometimes it can be tough to get a class, and I understand that. But for those that were wondering, they are beginning to open up fully. Per CDC guidelines, you can, if you feel comfortable and you've been vaccinated, come on in and get after it. But also, they are mindful that many others still are not, and so they have both. You have the ability to sign up for either classes at full capacity, 3G classes or 2G classes as they're known. So, if you sign up for Orange Theory Fitness, you have options. You have a multitude of options, and that range from 5 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, half full, totally full, you name it. They're also incorporating more and more weightlifting into the mix for those guys out there who thought, I love the rowing aspect and even the treadmill aspect and all the cardio you talk about, Jeff, but what about heavy lifting for guys like me who want to continue to add muscle mass and lean muscle mass? They have that as well as part of their workout. So I can't recommend it enough. That's all I'm telling you. I've been going now for how long have I been going now, Tom? Well over a year.
No, I think it's 2
years?
two going on 3.
Yeah.
As somebody who's seen the contracts as they're signed over for the wonderful, wonderful support that they've given us here at this station for so many years.
They have. So, I can't recommend it enough. Just thought I'd give you guys a heads up of that because I will say this. Now that we're going back to full capacity, you spend more time, by the way, and I'd forgotten about this. Each rotation, you go through these rotations where you're on the treadmill and then you're on the rower and then you're in the weight room. The longer stretches on the treadmill, I had forgotten about. And so today I was reacquainted with such a stretch. That was fun. I was like, God, why am I so weak today? I stayed up late watching the Lightning, but I wasn't getting crazy or anything. Why am I so tired? Oh, it's an extra 8 minutes. Okay.
Are you able to go to sleep after a game like that quickly? Because it took me an hour.
Well, we were texting last night, and I saw your final text about, because we were discussing players and plays and things. And I saw your final text, and I was like, that's a good place to end it, Tom. I'm going to sleep. But yeah, game 1 I can. If that had been game 7 for all the marbles to move on to the next round and there was a lot on the line, like I wasn't worried if they would have lost last night's first game of the series. I knew the Panthers would come out going for broke. They have the little brother syndrome. They're really frustrated, really angry. They're looking to break through. They're very talented, well coached. They're young. They're fast. So I thought, okay, maybe they'll make a splash because there was real energy in that building last night. Maybe they will beat the Lightning tonight. But I trust that we're a veteran group, and I figured I also didn't go into it thinking to myself that Kucherov would look as good as he did in his first game back. We know Hedman's battling an injury, so I just kind of went in with minimal expectations. Now, that game was quickly ratcheted up into an awesome place, and it was something to behold, and I cared about winning, and I was excited, but maybe because I wasn't so keyed up about the result going in, I was able to go to sleep. Yes.
Well, to explain it, though, I wasn't keyed up about the result because I almost feel – well, no, I don't almost. I do feel like this is a house money type playoff. Of course, they're really good, and they could and in some ways should at least make it to the conference finals or the cup finals because you want to cash in when you have the chances. But it's hard not to shake it. I mean, it only happened in September that they lifted the cup. It hasn't been a full year, so I'm still thinking like this is just kind of fun. But it could have been Minnesota and Ottawa as the two teams. If that was the game, if those
the game was incredible. The game was incredible.
It was the energy of the game. I've never seen a more entertaining, just for the pure chaos factor,
it was
physicality,
awesome.
Skill, screwing up and sloppy errors, all of it. You need to watch game 2. People out there, we've already converted a lot of people here in town to at least give the playoffs a shot. Tomorrow night's game 2 at 8 o'clock is going to be great because it was also the added element of the fans being back.
Yes, and they were very vocal. It was rocking.
That place was rocking.
So our dear friend Matt Britton was there last night with his family, and he took
went?
He
must have had one hell of a time.
He never not go. He's always going to go. He goes, and I got another friend Ryan who's an old who works for the Panthers. Great guy. So I'm excited for him because when you work for a franchise, you'd like them to have some success, and this is the first time in a while they have, so that's awesome.
People have been in the buildings across the league for a while now, but that was different. So you got all of that happening. It's a game that you expected it to be entertaining, not that entertaining. You had the crowd on top of it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, great game. It should be an awesome series. It's a contentious series. There's a lot riding on it. I in some ways, I feel like if the Lightning survive this series, then they got a good chance to win another Stanley Cup. I really feel like this is the one they got to survive.
Yeah, Florida's legit good. I mean,
they're legit good. Of course they are. They're really good.
Well, you're like there's been some speculation in the upper hockey circles, right? That since you only play within your division, how do you really know? No, you can tell.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Speed is speed. They're fast.
Yes, they are.
They're fast. So, look, it was
riveting television.
It got me back to the things we love about sport, though, and this is a larger discussion we have a lot. One of the reasons we've implored people, and I get the market. I'm in Tallahassee, Florida. There is a contingent of people that like the NHL, but it's a small percentage of people in my audience that make up the core in my P1. They're not a big percentage. Now, more and more, hockey's done well growing the sport in the South, whether it's Nashville or Carolina, obviously the state of Florida, reigning Stanley Cup champions reside right here. So, yeah, I got you.
This is going to do wonders for it if it's anything like this through the
of
conclusion of the
will.
series.
Yeah, Canada wishes they had this. So it is amazing to watch right now, and that's great. But rather than get into the weeds of the matchup and the actual hockey and the strategy and all that, we always, I think, implore people around this time of year when the playoffs begin to watch, because if you love intensity and you love competition, ratchet it up at its most contentious and focused and, as I say, competitive, then you're going to want to watch this, just like you would when you get into an all-time great semifinals at the U.S. Open in tennis. You're like, I don't usually watch a lot of tennis, but tonight we got Federer and Nadal. This is going to be amazing. And this could be 5 sets, epic competition. The creme de la creme of the sport going to war together. Who can't get behind that? You want that. If you love sports, if you understand that aspect of who you are and what you've always loved about competing, then you're gonna be drawn in, even if you're lukewarm on the competitors. That's true of the NBA for me. Like when they get into the playoffs, now I like the NBA, but I don't love it. Regular season, that is. When we get into the playoffs, if there's a great series, a great matchup where, styles make fights and you get this incredible matchup with, let's just say, really interesting superstars that play different styles.
Oh, Portland. How about watching Portland when Dame gets on a roll?
Right.
Yes.
I will tune into those series just because I like competition and I like to see great players make great plays. I like to see all-time great series. So it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, people will tune into majors because it's golf, and they're like, I don't watch, I'm not watching the Northern Trust Open, Jeff, but you got me at the British. Okay, I'll watch. So I get it. The playoffs are like that. But the NHL has a way, it's just something about the intensity of the postseason in the NHL that resonates in a way that really no other sport does. I'm not saying you're going to enjoy the NHL playoffs if you're lukewarm on the sport more than you would the NFL playoffs. I'm not saying that. But if you give it a chance and you sit down and you watch a game like what you just saw last night, you might find yourself being converted. You might find yourself saying, okay, I can get down with this. This I like.
Well, and I can tell you, driving back from Palm Harbor this morning, I saw it with my parents last night, watched the game, and you've got Canadian talking heads, right? They're looking down upon Florida any chance they can get. Now, Tampa has forced their way into the conversation that they have to legitimize them. But they all said that's the game of the year. That's one of the best playoff games they've seen in a long time. And that's what I'm speaking to. The reason I couldn't go to sleep was because of the entertainment value of that game. It was if we had lost, I told my dad we're losing 4-3. I'm like, Dad, this is unbelievable. This is outstanding. This is what you want. It's up and down, and we missed the crowds. Last year, if that was your first year trying the Stanley Cup playoffs, give it another crack and watch specifically the game down in Sunrise, Florida tomorrow night. That place is rabid. They're ready to tear each other apart.
Yeah, they're hungry. Yeah, they're really hungry. Yeah.
It is energetic as hell. It's only 9,000 people. It sounds like 30. It really does. So give it a try tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. You will not be disappointed.
Especially when you watch another Lightning victory to go up 2-0. Boy, won't that be riveting. Former New York Yankees superstar Derek Jeter has sold his waterfront mansion in Tampa. You been by that place?
Oh, a long time ago when it was Jeter's place, not Brady's place.
Yes. He sold it for $22.5 million. Brady's been renting it. He's going to have to look for new rental digs or buy it. The 7-bedroom, 8-bath estate sold Friday. I just want to work for Smith & Associates. Let me be the realtor who handles that transaction, eh? The firm did not disclose the buyer, and the sale had not yet been recorded Monday by Hillsborough County, a process that can take several days. The home had been listed for $29 million. He lived there part-time, did Jeter, until he retired in 2014. Then they moved across Florida, obviously, as becoming part of the Miami Marlins. Brady's been renting the mansion since April of 2020, shortly after he signed with the Bucks. He and his wife, supermodel Gisele Bundchen, recently purchased land on an exclusive island off Miami to build another home there. I wondered if Tampa could house Gisele. It didn't feel like, I mean, it's shady Tampa after all. There are, Davis Island and the like is beautiful. There are places within Tampa where you go, ooh, that would be all right. But you don't get too far removed from those places before you go, ooh, it's a little shaky. And that's the 7th strip club I've seen. So that's sort of that's the vibe I got. I wondered
Tampa's still growing. It's getting there. The problem is the city of is not on the water. If it was near the water.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
Because that's the thing. I was driving around there this weekend, and it was gorgeous. The water looked great. But, you know, Pinellas has the beaches. Hillsborough, not so much. You got the river, you got UT, and you got the downtown. So if Raymond James existed in St. Pete, near the water, or Madeira Beach or something along those lines, you might get Gisele to stay because she doesn't have to travel anywhere. But that ride across Tampa is not so hot.
I've wondered about this. If you had $22.5 million to spare, I don't know that I'd buy that place. I don't know what you need with, I mean, I like nice things as much as the next person. You need 8 bedrooms, 5 bath? What are we doing? I know it's not about need.
Anything we want.
Well, right, but there are probably parts of that house neither Tom Brady or Derek Jeter have ever seen.
Probably so.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, what are we doing? You could have 5 bedrooms, 4 bath, and a giant pool, and then some of the other rooms or some of the other areas could be like a movie theater or a bowling alley. That I'd do. Like the bowling alley at the end of There Will Be Blood.
Oh, my.
One of the greatest scenes ever. But anyhow,
that's
it's an incredible scene, yes. I drink your milkshake. Anyhow, so no. That bowling alley, I remember when that scene started, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I would do that. I'd have that in my mansion.
It's going to look different to you in a little bit here, you know.
Yeah, I mean.
When you first see it, you know, at the end, you're like, ooh, okay.
Oh, by the way, we always talk about our favorite movies and things like that. The last line of that movie is so perfect. The oddity of, and for lack of a better term, the house servant saying to him, sir, and he's, I'm done. You geniuses. How perfect is that? Yes, you are. That is that. Life's mission complete and empty and done.
Hollow.
But, yeah, just hollow.
Straight hollow.
If I have a straw. It's so good.
How many times have you seen There Will Be Blood?
5.
You watched intently then.
I love that film. It's one of my 10 favorites. But it's, yeah, if I have a straw, just walking across the bowling alley, and it fits in my milkshake but reaches all the way to your milkshake, you're just like, you're insane. I drink your milkshake. Do you think when they were filming that, when he goes into that place where Daniel Day-Lewis can go, that, like nobody says anything, but they're a little nervous.
Yes, I think that is a fearsome project for everybody involved. I mean, think about the burden of being the director of that film. Like, you've got to up your level, right? Or being a producer, being whatever, senior staff. You've got more pressure on you than maybe somebody like The Grip does. You know,
the Grip doesn't have much pressure.
Well, no, but I mean, those guys, they better not screw up. I mean, you're going to catch the wrath of the talent. But, like, everybody's on eggshells from the highest level to the lowest level.
Yeah.
Because he is going to a place where, is he going to ad-lib and do something crazy? Like, is he going to legit kill himself right here? Is he buying
going to kill
character?
the other actor?
Right.
Is he going to do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does he want to buy into the part so much? Because I wouldn't put it past this type of artist, self-proclaimed and genuinely great, to want to finish their greatest project by actually acting it out. the real thing.
Well, you would ask him before, is this going to be your last film?
Yes.
Yeah, you
You've
would
got to
ask.
always ask,
Yeah.
especially if the character dies in the film.
Yeah,
You got to be careful here.
You'd be like, "Is this your last film, or are we? You got several others in the tank. What are you going to do?"
Like if his film had a Thelma and Louise ending, he might actually drive off. He might do it. He might say, "This is it. This is my final masterpiece."
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson directed that, and he's already great and a little quirky himself. But what I wondered is,
There's pressure.
yeah,
The burden of coaching. I mean,
Well,
even if you can.
yeah. What would you even say? Well, first of all, if he says yes to your project, and then you know he respects you and what you've done because he's done all the research. There's no way he's saying yes to any director
Right.
he thinks is slappy. So you know
This did devolve into bellying up, but not quite that much.
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. So you know that he's not going to say yes to that unless he's respected your previous work. And then I'm sure there is the negotiation and the conversation centered around
Control.
well, also what he wants to do with the character.
Right. Yes, but how much can he improvise on his own? It's got to be spelled out in the contract.
Probably a lot. I mean, if you're trusting him, he's going to create this character. He's going to.
Well, you will address me as Lincoln
Oh.
if you need to tell. Well, I'm sure that he strikes me as that type.
You
He was
will
writing
address
people
me
correspondence.
as Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Abe, you're doing 5 on the set.
I read that is
That he was writing them letters as Abraham
or
Lincoln?
calling them as Abraham. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
That's
I'll
the
find it.
best-
I'll find it before maybe a real episode of Bellying Up.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. That's the best phone call anybody's ever received.
Or he conducted an interview as like it was
Because
he was in.
I have to tell you, if I'm laying in my bed at 1:30 in the morning and my coworker, in this case Daniel Day-Lewis, calls me and I pick up the phone and he's Abraham Lincoln, unwaveringly so, I'm going to go get a beer. I'm going to be here for the long haul. I'm going to ask him questions about his assassination. I'm going to have a good time with all of this.
I'll find it. Method to His Madness, an exploration of. I'm going to read that article. It's going to be out. Yes. So now you have to address him. Abe, I'm sorry. The lighting was a little off. We got to do that again.
I don't think you could do that, though, because there would never be a situation in which Abe would be addressed about the lighting of a film shoot. So he's immediately.
But Abe is transported through time to document his story.
Anyhow, go watch the final. Go see There Will Be Blood if you haven't. I'll leave that alone. I mean, go see it. Listen to me. Download it. Stream it. Whatever you're going to do.
I don't know. A lot of theaters are playing some classics these days to try to drum up business again, and I'm here for it.
If I have a straw.
If it was at the local theater and they were playing it on, wouldn't you go?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes. I wish it were an IMAX. I'd go. It's so wonderfully shot. It's beautiful. We got to get the sounder. If I have a straw. When he did that, I was like, oh my God, this is riveting. I can't believe this. Where are we going here? It's ominous. You feel very uncomfortable. Like, okay, I think this is going to end in somebody dying, but this speech is going to be really good.
It's a lovely bowling alley.
It's on the list of things that we didn't know was also going on in baseball, and that is that everybody's getting hit by pitches at a record rate, getting drilled. No. Baseball's had a hard enough time connecting to the nation's youth, try to get people to play baseball, the sport waning a little bit. I'll tell you what won't make you want to play baseball, reading stories about how dudes are getting popped at 98 miles per hour in a record fashion. No.
That makes me like the dog who has the Nom flashbacks.
Yeah.
No good, man.
No.
I don't like reading about that.
That's awful. Getting hit by a baseball sucks. It is awful. Lots of things about sports come with the good and the bad. There are elements of the game, all games, that you like and you don't like. Most of those things have to do with aspects of pain. So if you're a long-distance runner, pushing your body to the limits, exploring your mind on epically long runs in brutal conditions in order to better yourself is one of those things you don't like, but it's part of it. It's part of trying to be great when it matters most at your next meet. You have to endure the long hours of practice, the journey along the way, so that when it's go time, you've been put through it. You've been put through the paces. Doesn't mean you like it, but you do it. Football, getting hit in practice. For what? We're practicing. This doesn't even count for anything. Not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. Getting lit up in practice. Here you go. I'm going to give you a back in my day. Back in my day, full live, straight getting cracked in practice. Crackbacks in a practice. Made you want to kill a bitch. Couple times I nearly did getting cracked in practice. Ridiculous. And then you really want to kill your linebacker for not yelling out crack at the top of his lungs if you're off the edge. Not cool. Somebody's got to yell crack. Just like when you get screened, when somebody's setting a pick and you're backing up, defending the on-ball walk up. Somebody's got to tell you that you're about to get taken the hell out. Got to help people. But these are all elements of practice and games and things that you don't like. Lots of running in soccer. Lots of running in tennis. Hours of hitting. Boring. Up against a wall. Over and over and over and over again. Serving until you're blue in the face. Hundreds upon hundreds of serves. Not much in golf gets on you. Golf's one of those ones where hitting the range is fun. I don't mind hitting hundreds of golf balls.
You might get a blister.
But, yeah, golf's not one of the sports that bothers you too much. Don't mind hitting hundreds of golf balls. But every other sport, hockey's hard.
Oh,
it's exhausting.
You know, I know your least favorite part, which is somebody messing around your hands.
Oh, yeah.
Slapping at you. You got the puck.
No, I don't want to talk
slashed
about all
in
that. That would
in the
piss me
hands.
off to no end. Boxing is brutal. MMA, any of that stuff, brutal. Lots of hard, difficult training. You kind of got to embrace it. There's no doubt you got to embrace it, but it doesn't mean you like it. There are all aspects of it you don't like, aspects of the game you don't like. Man, getting hit by a pitch, I think, above and beyond all of these things. The only thing I can think of, endurance sports, and it just depends on your size. It depends on, what comes naturally to you. So if you're a fast twitch guy, if you've always been fast, from the time you were little, you could just run. You're fast. Well, when you have to run sprints at the end of practice, it doesn't really bother you. It's tiring, but you're the fastest dude out there. You're in no jeopardy. You're going to finish all that. No big deal. But long distances, if you're a big guy, not what you want to do. If you're a Clydesdale, somebody tells you got to run 5 to 7 miles. No, man, that is not what we do. That's hard. It's brutal. Lumbering. It's not fun. Don't like it. Swimming. Ooh, exhausting. Olympic-sized pool, swimming back and forth. No, that's brutal. I don't know how they do it. I admire it. I just think it's crazy.
The amount of calories my water polo playing roommates in Iona, that's actually a tongue twister, unbelievable.
It's insane, right?
4,000 or 5,000 calories they'd ingest a day because they had to do practice forever, then they got the meets, and they are still rail thin.
Oh,
in perfect physical condition.
Yeah, you can't get enough meat on your
They
bones.
ate so much terrible food. It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. Well, at their age, coupled with what they were playing, yeah. But I think of all the sports, the things I think about, yes, I get running long distances will try you. I mean, it is all upstairs after a while. Like the physical part you can handle. It's just all up here mentally where you're like, man, 6 more miles at this pace is not cool. This is not all right. I'm really starting to wear down here, getting angry. You can only say, if I could just get to that stop sign so many times before it runs out.
Oh, you can't be thinking about 6 more. Yeah, you got to be thinking about the next step. Forget the post. Like, it's got to be about, almost creating rhythm, like creating musical rhythm or something that you're just going to lock in.
Yeah, you got to find it. You got to find that place. But getting hit by a baseball, no.
Yeah.
Dodgers shortstop Corey Seager became the latest, basically, MLB star this season to land on the injured list because he got hit exceptionally hard. And the note is that they're on pace to shatter the record in MLB. 45 with another 45 coming in 46 games played over the weekend. 45 people got hit by pitches. 45.
Oh my God. It's a bunch of Biggios out here.
Just everybody and their brother getting popped. I know it's a big part of getting on base and being tough and crowding the plate and forcing pitchers to try to throw inside without hitting you. I don't know, man. I'd like to think I'm pretty tough. Can handle getting hit. Handled lots of physical travails in my life. Getting hit by the baseball, even in Little League, like on your elbow. I know you got hit because you couldn't see a damn thing.
Everywhere.
But, yeah, getting hit on the elbow,
helmet,
on your
chest,
ribs,
arm, ribs,
forearm.
shoulder blade. Got turned around on that one, thankfully. Saw that one.
Yeah, getting hit. Oh,
The hip bone.
the kneecap. Oh, you ever wear one on the kneecap? Not all right.
Yeah, when I was playing first.
Getting hit on the ankle. Not
Like,
okay.
12 years old and a college catcher is out here throwing infield like it's friggin' practice. And the thing dives, it's like a two-seamer.
Yeah, it just dives.
And
off
I'm like
the
8 years
kneecap.
younger than him.
Yeah.
It's Billy Madison with the dodgeball over here. Right off the kneecap. Oh, dear God.
That's a tough one.
That is.
That's a tough one. Bryce only had to wear one tough one this year, and he didn't rub it. He went down to first. He handled it. Just turned, wore it in the back. That seam digging into your skin when you feel that. We all know what that feels like. It etches in there.
Oh,
You're
it's
like,
in there for days.
Oh, you're like, oh.
Right on the hip bone. As a kid, there ain't nothing there. You just see the seams there,
Yeah, just there they are.
It's like I'm Frankenstein.
Right on that hip. Oh.
Had to ice up the knee because I couldn't bend it. But that's not hit by a pitch. That's different.
Somebody throwing a two-seamer hard,
Yeah.
falling into your knee, it's the same.
An a-hole, like,
what
Captain America over
What are we
here.
doing out here, man? No, that's I never could get used to that. And I read that story today, and I was like, well, good God. 46 people in 45 games over the weekend got hit. And baseball is at an all-time pace. And there's a I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the article because the rest of the article is trying to describe why that may be happening. I don't care, man. No. I've never.
That's an easy answer.
Well, listen, Jim Edmonds wore one in the face one year from a lefty, and I remember thinking, oh, well, that'll be the end of him. That brave son of a bitch never flinched again. He stood in there. Well, I mean, never.
Remember Sammy
It's
Sosa got hit
unreal.
in the helmet, and he sat right back up on a knee, and he looked out at the pitcher and glared at him? Like, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You just got hit in the head. How are you up?
Well, listen, these guys defy logic. I'm telling Bryce Harper getting hit in the face this year and then still going on to continue to hit the way he's hitting. No.
Why it's happening more is easy, though. It's easy because the seams are a little bit slipperier. You're throwing faster. The spin rate's up. So if you make a small error at a greater velocity, there's greater variance of where the hell it's going to go, as in right in your back.
The face, though. The freaking face.
Yeah, that's something. That's a hockey player moment for
He's
him.
just made of steel. That is crazy. Getting hit in the face is no bueno.
No.
You don't bounce back from that real quick.
That's legendary. That's like straight legendary. That's getting hit with a puck in the face and then being back for your next shift. He did that. He did that in baseball.
And he's having a good year. Yeah, it's silly. Jeff Cameron, 97.9 ESPN Radio. the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Hope you're doing well on a glorious Monday. Glad you're with us. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always. Don't miss anything, but if you do, go back and get caught up. We'll post all 3 hours. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any place that has podcasts. You know the deal. Rate, review, share, like, hold on high, post on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. You can email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Hello, YouTubers. So I read this story, and let me just quickly get some things out of the way here for you. Obviously, we talked about it earlier. Florida State takes 2 out of 3 from Clemson this weekend. Somehow it's frowned upon to win series after series after series after series, which is what Florida State's done now. I think 5 series in a row, and they've won 8 of the 11 series they've played in ACC play this year. I understand they're not the number 1 rated team in the ACC, but they have the 3rd best record in the ACC, and yet they just get peed on the regular. I don't know what's going on with that, but okay.
Like the fans of Cleveland during the decision with Jim Gray.
For years, just peed on. So, but I'm not going to worry about it. I feel like we'll go on the road and we'll play well and get set for the ACC tournament. Keep on keeping on, guys.
Keep on keeping on. We'll be a 1 seed in somebody else's building again, we were in Connecticut all those years ago.
That's fine. I mean, I'm not going to gripe about it. It's a weird year. The RPIs are all screwed up. The schedules were radically shifted, and so it's just. And Florida State didn't play enough games, which was dumb. So that's where we're at, and it's aggravating. They're also a wildly inconsistent team. It's not like they've dominated people and all of a sudden they're getting overlooked. I mean, they are a weird team, but again, you're a team that can win a lot of series against just about anybody. So I'll hang in there with them, and we'll see what happens. I do know that there's evidence that they're hitting a little bit better here and there. So you get the bottom of the order going nuts yesterday. That was fun to see.
Good to see Hubbard pitched well as a Friday guy. You never know. Sometimes that changes the way a kid prepares or pitches or performs. He's still tough.
He is tough. We've got a habit of getting down early in
He
games,
does.
and he does too. Yeah,
he does, but he bounces back, and next thing you know, he's on cruise control getting you through the middle innings of the game. It's nice to see.
Knowles men's golf led the way today over there at Seminole Legacy, which is so beautiful. And I know they were so eager to showcase the course, and they get a chance to do that. It's a tough course if you haven't played it. I think Florida State does have a distinct advantage there. It showed today. They're in the clubhouse done at minus 17, I think
17,
is what it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so they have the lead.
They're way clear of that top 5 watermark right now. At last check earlier this evening, it was, 14 shots, something like that, 14, 15. That's really good. That's a great place to be.
Good place
and
to be.
They came out, they touched as low as 21 that I saw, 21 under as a team. So no problems for them out there at the Legacy. Playing 7,500 yards this week.
That is a toughie. Also might note that it's a major week, everybody. While we're on the subject of golf, we're back. It's a major week. It's very quietly a major week. I think it's partly because the PGA Championship is kind of thought of as the worst of the majors, right? Nobody really respects the PGA Championship.
That's correct, and we haven't had it like this yet. They'd made the change, and then COVID happened, so you weren't able to play it out 4 consecutive because the Open was canceled last year. So it was just so disjointed. And then also, I don't know, these little things called the Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs are this week. Since they start late, and you have the chaos of
there's a lot
16
going on,
teams,
man.
You're
There's
right.
a lot of stuff going on. Did you catch Steph's act over the weekend again? I watched Steph go nuts for 40.
Dropped another 40.
Yeah, It was funny yesterday.
They play the Lakers in that playoff.
I know.
That playing game is as good as it possibly could be for the NBA.
Yeah, that'll be fun. The women, of course, with an opportunity to win the national championship, they'll get underway at 5:30. Tom and I are going to dip at 5:40ish in order to watch this because go Noles is why. That's why go Noles. So
there will be content till 6.
Yeah, no, that last segment is going to be put in the can. That's how that's going to be. But it's just probables, and I love probables, and they're not changing. So we didn't need to stay for all that. We'll record probables, and we'll go watch Florida State go win the national championship. That's what we're going to do. Go, be on the path.
Between that and track and field winning the ACCs, men's and women's, they got to take the big photo of everybody together because they both took it down.
The big photo is a good photo. It's a fun photo to take. I love those. Yeah, that's cool. Good for them.
We've done a lot of those in that program's history, and hopefully it looks like we're getting back to that dominant place again where you could just kind of write it in ink. And then softball's the number 10 seed. They're hosting a regional this weekend.
Yeah, they disappointed me. They disappointed me on Friday. That sorry effort on Friday against Duke. That was disappointing. We're going to have to rebound, ladies. Let's get it together.
We got Kennesaw State 4:30 on Friday, I believe it is.
Get your whoop in Kennesaw State.
Yeah, might be 6:30. I got to double check that. But then there's also women's tennis. Whooping ass, going places the program's never gone before.
Yeah, you're right. The success abounds. That's a good thing. Now, I want to get to something that really is near and dear to my heart. And we shouldn't worry, but forgive me while I read to you, friends. It's okay. I know you're capable of reading, but you're driving. You don't want to be reading and driving. It's not what you do. So here you go. Now, we nailed it last time. Let's get a feel for all this. I ought not be squirmy. I ought not be in limbo. I ought not feel.
I'll be in a limo.
Yeah. I ought not feel even a little nervous about what I'm about to address here. But if you've been a long-term Jeff Cameron Show listener and you know anything about my feelings for certain players that have come through this program, then you know that Marvin Jones, Shade Tree, is my favorite Seminole of all time, not named William Floyd. And Floyd's a personal dear friend of mine, and we go all the way back to middle school and elementary school. So that doesn't even count. That's unfair. That's just because we're friends. But Marvin Jones is my man. That's the guy. Shade Tree was, for me, the most dominant and influential player I'd ever seen in the Garnet and Gold. Just intimidated, dominated. I mean, good Lord, was considered to be a Heisman Trophy candidate legit as a linebacker. That's the kind of domination we saw there. So I say that to say this. His son, Marvin Jones Jr., there's a promo that runs on the air where I was telling Corey Clark of Seminole Headlines that, Marvin, I mean, what are we doing here? Come on. Well, let's go. Well, his son is going to visit Alabama in June. I don't like that. It's just, let's read. Yep. Let's get a feel here.
I think you said you'd leave ESPN Radio if his son went somewhere else.
That's true. That is true. And I'll stand by that, Tom. He's trying to visit Alabama in June, but either way, the four-star defensive end will visit Tuscaloosa during the season when the Crimson Tide host LSU. What a night. This is from Adam Gorney, Rivals.com. Alabama is stepping it up with the Plantation American Heritage standout, and Jones is definitely interested for a variety of reasons. Quote, I had a Zoom call with Coach Sal Sunseri. Remember when Sal was here?
Mm-hmm. Everybody was here for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I had a Zoom call with Coach Sal Sunseri last weekend, and he broke down a lot of stuff for me and how I fit in their defense, so I definitely am one of their guys, they say. It's important to see the place. At the end of the day, it is Alabama. They're a very successful program. They put guys in the NFL consistently. They play a tough schedule every year, and you get better in practice every day. If you're interested in those things, that's the place to go. Now, that seems like a slight to Alabama to me. I read those quotes as, yeah, I know who they are, and they're amazing, but it's kind of me just taking a cursory glance and maybe going through the motions to say I went to see Alabama.
If you're interested in not developing it all, that's why I thought Willie Taggart in Florida State was a great place to be. And now that he's gone, I don't know what to think about Tallahassee.
The official visit schedule is coming together, but so are some unofficial trips over the next few weeks. Marvin Jones Jr. plans to be at UF, Florida State, and Miami for unofficial visits throughout June, as all three in-state programs remain under serious consideration. Well, yes, they do, but only one should be under serious consideration. You don't even need to step foot on Florida's campus. One, you'll be bitterly disappointed. It lacks charm or anything unique. Miami, that's not even a real football program. So, sir, what are we doing given who your dad is? Just stop this. Stop the shenanigans. He is planning to also be at Ohio State for the Oregon game on September the 11th, although that visit could be pushed back to a later date. Now, I never begrudge kids going on their official visits to see these great moments. They should. Go. It's your time to shine. Go soak it all in. Enjoy it. Let these schools pay for you to make your way all over the country. Take in these incredible games. Go see Alabama versus LSU. Go see Ohio State play Oregon. That's kind of cool.
That's a cool matchup.
That's really cool.
I was waiting for you to say, wait, ooh.
Yeah, no, I like the matchup too. He'll be at Oklahoma for the West Virginia game. I'd have picked a better game, Marvin.
Oh, yeah.
Oklahoma will beat the brakes off of West Virginia per usual. As I said, Alabama for the LSU game in early November. He's also going to go to the Florida State game against Miami. All right, I understand it. Yeah, that's fair. Rather be at that game than the Florida State Clemson matchup.
That's November weather, too. All right. Got a chance to be a really decent day outside.
Could be 90 as well.
Could be.
Never know.
Could be.
So I know. So you got, the father and the uncle playing for the Noles. His mother ran track at Miami. It's a football school. We're not talking about track. Let's go.
Didn't we, pardon the pun, but didn't we track down all of Miami's ACC titles? And wasn't it like women's track since they joined the conference? It was like, that was it. Maybe like one baseball one, and that was it.
I think it was something really, it was scarce.
That's all.
A lot of slim pickings out there.
The All Canes Conference has yielded like 5 ACC titles in 20 years.
5? Are you sure?
Maybe 4.
5 seems excessive.
It might
I'm
be
not
4.
sure that it's 5. I felt like 2. I don't think there are many. You have to really scour the record books to find them. You're like, no. Like, if you pull up the ACC record books and look for championships alongside Miami Hurricanes, you'll do a lot of this. Okay, here we go. Here's the list. No. None there. Nope. Nope. Scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. Nope. Not that year either. None there. None. Nope. 0. Still hasn't happened there. None. Nope. Keep scrolling. Nope. None there. Nope. No Miami titles to speak of here. Nope. None. Nope. Nothing. I'm sure they've got one. Scroll down some more. Nope. Go back up. I'm sure we missed it. Go back to the top. I'm sure we missed it. Okay, let's start from that first year. Okay, here we go. Nope. Still, nope, nothing there. Oh, what's that? I think they go scroll back. I think they got one in women's track. That's how that conversation would go with you and your friend as you were desperately searching for ACC titles alongside Miami's header. It'd be tough. A lot of no's.
Limited options. Limited. Larinaga that one time. That's about it.
Yeah, that's the banner one. That's
their
one.
biggest accomplishment
That is
to date.
by far. That was it was an amazing accomplishment.
But that is their biggest accomplishment to date as a member of the ACC.
Otherwise, it's just no, none there.
How far did they get? Did they get to the Elite Eight? Were they a Sweet 16?
I don't think they got to the Elite Eight.
So that is their biggest accomplishment.
Maybe they did. They
is a regular season tournament title sweep in basketball one time, and they got maybe to the 16.
Yeah, well, and prior to that, Hamilton did a great job with them. Leonard Hamilton, Florida State's all-time coach, had done wonders for him in the Big East. They had a spectacular in the Big East, Tom.
Yeah, they didn't lose a road game
They
one
didn't
year.
lose a single road game in the Big East one year, and that was a year it was a juggernaut conference. That was doing some things, so they get credit for. But that was the Big East.
That was not the ACC.
That was not the ACC.
The All Canes Conference.
That was eons ago. So, but my point is this: I don't need to do what I just did by getting us Alou Ba. You guys are welcome yet again. I got us Alou Ba. I don't need to go out on a limb here to get us Marvin Jones Jr. Shade Tree knows Marvin Jones Jr. is coming to Florida State University. This is just, you're going through the motions. I got it. You got to go through the motions.
Yeah, it might be he's in the kitchen, right? He's getting another bottle of water or something. He's like, well, what he doesn't know is that he's going to Florida State. He's out there in the living room talking to all these other coaches. He doesn't know. He doesn't know it yet, but it's coming.
I think we're in a good place, and I'll leave it at that, because when I read that article, I got nervous. Then I stopped getting nervous when he said, if you're interested in those things, that's the place to go. That doesn't sound like a person interested in those things. He's interested in those things, but not there. It's such a dismissive, it's just a slight.
Wait a minute. So you are gathering steam here. You are reading into this quote now with even more gusto.
I had a Zoom with Coach Sal last weekend. He broke down a lot of stuff for me, how I fit in their defense. I'm definitely one of their guys, they say. Okay, all right. That's not, I'm going to Alabama, everybody. Followed by, it's an important place to see. Actually, I read that wrong. It's even more dismissive. It's important to see that place. Almost like he's doing him a favor. I got to go by. What are you going to do? I got to go by. I don't want to. She asked that I stop by. I'll stop by. Don't worry, I'll still be there on time. I'm just going to run in and run out. I'll give Aunt Mary a kiss. I'm on my way. I'll see you guys around 4. But I got to go by. I got to go by. What are you going to do? That's what that sounds like.
So breaking news, we have eliminated Alabama from the Marvin Jones Jr. pursuit.
It's important to see that place. What is that?
Okay, that means Alabama's not on the list. Breaking news.
And then he
Here
says,
come the threads.
Then he says, at the end of the day, it's Alabama. They're a very successful program. It's like he's got to kiss the ring a little bit. It's just sort of like, that's a guy you got to go see. It's a guy you got to go see. Just to show your respects.
Or he's courting them as a fallback option.
Then he tries to lay it out there as if we didn't know it. This is also dismissive, as if the world of college football doesn't understand how profoundly awesome Alabama has been for what feels like eons now. They're a successful program. They put guys in the NFL pretty consistently. They play a tough schedule. Man, he just basically laid it out, Tom. I've got no intention of going to Alabama. That's what that is.
Well, this took a very positive turn. It
I'm
didn't
just
feel
telling
like
you.
you were going to be positive on this topic.
No, I'm feeling good. If you're interested in those things, that's a place to go. Man, get out of here. If I'm an Alabama fan, I read that quote, I'm like, damn it. We couldn't shake him free from the Florida State bonds. You can just tell. In fact, I don't even want him to visit. He's dismissing us. That's how I would read that.
If I'm an Alabama fan, it'd be that's fine. The other top 10 players at the position.
Of course,
all
that's
wanna
what
play
you
for
would
us.
say. That's
Yeah.
what you would say. I mean, that's fine. None of them are Shade Tree's son. That's all I'm saying. That's my counter. It's Jeff Cameron Show. This is not okay, man. This is not what you do. A lot of times people chuckle at the very modern, sort of deceiving, and it's even TV usually appropriate, I guess, these days. The kind of chicanery that goes on in what's known as catfishing and the like, right? That's wasn't that born? Didn't we all get introduced to that when what's his face from Notre Dame, the linebacker?
Yeah, that's right. Lene Kakua.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's when we got introduced to.
The general population, yes.
Yeah,
Catfishing had been around for the kids, but I was before my time or after my time, I should say.
Every generation's got a thing that they do that it ends up being a shock to the previous generation. Like the previous generation did some bad things. Every generation does. Like there's a popular thing that happens. And in retrospect, everybody looks back on it and goes, why did we do that? That's terrible. That was mean. We should not have done that. That's wrong.
Catfishing, Tide Pods, these are after my time.
Well, now Tide Pods is just people being stupid, and that's thinning the herd. But I didn't have any idea I didn't know catfishing existed until Lene Tatua and all that stuff. And
Kakua, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, whoever they were, yeah.
Yes, that's her real name.
Yes. She doesn't exist. But, yeah, so that whole situation, that was a toughie.
She was the 12th defender who fell down for Kansas City when Fournette got around the right side in the second half.
She just didn't make the play.
She just didn't make the play.
Didn't make the play.
She was right there. You could see her. She's got a chance, but she didn't make the play.
So a lot of this is born out of the internet. So I graduated high school in 1989, and that didn't exist. So you could not get hoaxed like that. You could not get fooled like that. You could get played in other ways, but it couldn't be that. And thank goodness, because that's really cruel. Like, that's terribly cruel to toy with somebody's feelings in that way. No, I'm not talking about Lene. I'm just talking about just in general when I read about these. There's a TV show, right? I mean, or an online thing or something.
It was on the ads. It's probably something MTV has on.
But that's just awful. It's an awful thing to do because you think about the people that they're typically preying on. It's somebody who's lonely and sad and wants to be in a relationship or wants to relate to somebody and connect to somebody, and then you drag them along. That's just really, I mean, it's profoundly wrong, and it bothers me. I just, that's cruel. So this falls under this category where this person may not be desperate in the classic sense of they want a companion, but rather they want to fulfill a dream that they've been chasing their whole life. Why? You've got to be a pretty terrible human being to do this to somebody. So I lead you in this way. Ex-Austin Peay defensive back Jontarius Bryant was a victim of a Atlanta Falcons hoax. The team didn't do this, but here's what happened.
That'd be something if professional organizations decided to catfish.
I mean, that would be really wrong. But, okay, so he received a text message on May the 1st from a 404 area code immediately after the NFL draft. So the second the draft ended, he gets a text.
I'm already cringing, man.
This is awful already.
Yeah, this is already bad.
It's already awful. So my man thought there was an outside chance he'd be drafted. He wasn't. So now he's hoping, obviously, to get signed as a free agent to get a chance. So he gets this text. It's got to be exhilarating to know that you're getting an invite. The message said that it was from the Falcons defensive coordinator, Dean Pease, and he was cordially inviting Bryant, a former All-Ohio Valley Conference defensive back at Austin Peay, so it's not like he couldn't play. He was a good player, to come to the Falcons rookie mini camp in May. It gave him the date, it gave him the time, and it gave him the address. He was elated. He arrived on Wednesday at the team's Flowery Branch, Georgia facility. When he got there, the Falcons like, who the hell are you? Why are you here? He told him he was invited by the defensive coordinator. He showed him the text. They were like, yeah, no, we didn't do that. The team also didn't recognize the phone number, and they had never extended an invite to Bryant. NFL teams were allowed 5 tryouts this year due to COVID-19 protocols. Both the club and the player, obviously in this case, felt pretty damn awful. Quote, it's frustrating that anyone would prey on anybody's dream of fulfilling their football life. But at the end of the day, Jontarius Bryant is a phenomenal human being. He'll get his shot. Man, that is awful. I can't think of anything worse than that.
You couldn't give him a shot there? How about a workout? A little something?
Well, I mean,
He just made it a long way. I mean,
they're not a charity. I mean, what
hey, the way their defense plays, they could use a lot of different people to come in.
Now, there is a good news part of this story. He is going to get a shot to play hub football.
Huh? Oh, no.
It's founded by NFL agent Don Yee. He's extended Bryant an all-expenses-paid invite to its May 23rd free agent tryout at Helix Charter High School in La Mesa, California, just outside San Diego. Capital H, capital U, capital B, hub football.
Okay. So it's almost like its own combine type deal.
The Falcons are going to be one of the teams in attendance. He's an undrafted free agent coming out of college. Would have been in a rookie minicamp last year, but there was no rookie camp due to COVID. So it was all, shut down all in-person work. He's been training ever since in Nashville and thought he had gotten his opportunity.
So he hopped in the car and
drove from Nashville.
Oh, man. Man, yeah, see, the reason that makes me angry is because if he has a mom or a dad who is dreaming with him and he makes that phone call that the Falcons gave him a call, that's where it gets infuriating. That's not cool. Like, you see the videos of some of the guys, the one Bucks player, you see that, I forget what position he played, but his dad is sitting next to him on the couch, and he gets the call.
Oh, yeah.
I think maybe he's our 7th-round pick. He was like our 7th-round pick. And the family goes and freaks out. Think about that. Now you got to call them back? Damn, man. That's not cool.
None of this is cool. I read that story, and I was aghast. God, what is with this generation? I'm the old man now going, get it together, kids. We have crossed the line here. What is happening? Why would you send that to somebody? I mean, that's sinister. That is beyond the pale. Like, you cannot. Oh, I hope he makes a damn team.
Either that or I hope it's the kid that he picked on in high school or something who's like, I've been waiting in the shadows.
I bet that my time has come.
I've been waiting.
I got your ass. Okay, yes.
You knocked over my chess set and called me a nerd.
If we find out
It's
that
time.
this guy's a terrible human being who had warranted this sort of, on the surface, cruel and unusual behavior.
That's why I'm mad, because I have to devise a scenario by which I feel better about this, because it's terrible.
No,
it would be terrible if he was just like, what if he's the nicest kid in the world?
Kids, stop catfishing. Stop doing all that. That's not what we do. There's no reason for that. Get in an old-fashioned fight if you have to. There's no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Do not be out here catfishing on people. That is awful. I've gotten to where if I get a text from a number that I don't know, that person could describe everything about me and tell me they're my best friend. They just switched phones. I'll be like, I don't buy it.
That is an interesting offer.
Yeah.
You're very forward.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to click that link.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to
not
delete this exchange.
Yeah, this doesn't seem to be on the up and up.
That seems a little too good to be true.
How is it Selma Hayek got my number? This is amazing. Lucky day me.
The photo, while impressive,
Yes.
is not going to bait me into a thing.
No, it doesn't make me think that it's you, Selma. However, if it is you, let's continue down this rabbit hole. Why don't you send a plane? She's married to a billionaire. Oh, my goodness. That's funny. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Fairness, this very last segment of the program here is recorded, just so you know. Because we're off watching the ladies compete to win a national championship. That's what we got to do. It starts at 5:30, then we're out of here at 5:30. That's how it works. So, Probables is no less interesting today because it is a recorded segment. It is just as exciting as it always is, and we get geared up and enthused to do that as we always do, thanks to our friends at North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services. That includes full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
And we're frozen. We're frozen. The
Completely frozen.
Music is said, screw you.
Hey, there it is.
Bunch of night games tonight, Tom, so it's a good thing. We've got the all the games ahead of us.
I'm going to call this Wheezy 2 over here.
Wheeze. Giants, Reds, Logan Webb, Sonny Gray. Speaking of the Giants, I was watching the Pirates late night on Saturday, and the game's about to be lost to the Giants. We tie it up, and the next thing you know, there's an opportunity to take the lead. Runner gets thrown out at the plate. I'm thinking this is how it ends. This is typical. Here come the Giants. They're going to score, and we're going to lose. But nay. The next batter with 2 outs in the ninth says, suck it. Jacob Stallings goes yard in the Knowles, listen to me. Pirates win.
That had to be a poke in that ballpark.
Yeah, I pulled it down the left field line, and he got it. I mean, you still have to hit it a long way for a right-hander, and he got it. I didn't think he'd get out right away because, it's not like he hits prodigious home runs, but left his bat. He knew he got it. He spun it and everything. I went, oh.
Wow. Even with the marine layer, man, that's the thing about that park. Nothing is for certain.
This was in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
It's also a hard place to hit a home run.
I thought late night is what you said.
No. It was late. It was a Saturday night, and the game went late, but it wasn't that kind of late. No, it wasn't West Coast late. But it is a hard place to hit a home run for right-handers. It kind of angers me. Like, you really have to hit one to left field. It's hard. So when he left his bat, I was like, that may not be gone.
Oh, you're talking to somebody who watched one of the worst-run organizations in history before they just sold.
Build a park that made David Wright useless.
Exactly. What's the best thing he does? He goes to right center with power. All right, let's make that
it cavernous.
445 over there.
Cavernous. Speaking of which, Mets, Braves. Mets come off the series licking their wounds.
And limping, literally. Yeah, we're hurt.
Got a lot of injuries. That's a pervasive story in baseball these days. Injuries abound.
Got 11 regulars on the IL.
Tawan Walker going to go for the Mets. The Braves will throw Max Fried. We've got the Nats and the Cubs. John Lester. Adbert Alzolay. Pitching for the Cubs. I've seen the Washington Nationals play the Chicago Cubs in person. More than once. Oddly, both in Washington and in Chicago.
That is odd.
It's just odd. It's just the way that the timing of my vacation at the time went.
I will have a vacation in which I see the Cubs play the Mets at Citi Field. First time that I've ever seen the Cubs in person. You got to cross these things off the list.
Yeah, it's better to go to Wrigley, though. I mean, you've been to Citi, so at some point, go to Wrigley. You'll enjoy it. But, screw the Cubs. I hope you beat them by 20. White Sox.
Makes 2 of us.
White Sox Twins. Dallas Keuchel, J.A. Happ. Remember that year J.A. Happ had for the Pirates, and then we gave him away, and then he went to the Yankees, and he kicked ass. Then he had some tough times. Looks like he's back. He's 2-1, 3.26, pitching all right. Old J.A. hanging tough. That one year he had to have been on roids. He was dealing.
Well, and they take out the period after his first initial because everybody just calls him J-Hap. Like, why is the A even there if you're going to call him J-Hap?
I don't know. Yankees, Rangers, Garrett Cole. By the way, Garrett Cole is now 5-1 with a 1.37 and 78 strikeouts. Very quietly, Garrett Cole is not having any of your nonsense. He struck out 12 batters and tossed 8 scoreless innings in his last outing.
I'll never forget that final press conference he had with the Astros. He's like in the locker room. He's like, "Yeah, it's been a good run."
Oh, yeah,
like wearing Astros stuff.
Yeah, peace out.
I mean, that was
out.
Straight awkward.
Yeah, he was done. Jordan Lyles, former Pirate, sucks. Glad we got rid of him. He's 1-3 with a 6.63. That's not much of a matchup, friends. Think I may put Little pizza money on the Yankees tonight in the first 5.
First 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's probably minus 250.
It probably is. Indians, Angels, Sam Hentges, Patrick Sandoval. D-backs, Dodgers. Madison Bumgarner is telling me to shut up. He's been pretty good lately. Over his last 5 starts, he's been more than pretty good. He's 4-0 with an 0.90.
Oh. Did he make a call to Jake Arrieta? What's going on here?
I don't know, but he's dealing again. Walker Buehler.
Trap or keeper?
Rockies, Padres, John Gray, Yu Darvish, my man. Man, is he fun to watch. Tigers, Mariners, Casey Mize, Yusei Kikuchi. And that's a look at those that showers out of the month.
Then softer than a piper man, one day it called to you.
Sneaky good Kikuchi has become in the repertoire.
Yeah, he's in there.
By the way, he's pitched really well lately.
You needed a De La Rosa replacement.
Yeah,
this guy,
this is
he's
my
in
guy.
there.
He's there. Oh, how I miss it. De La Rosa. Oh, that was fun. And we had, there were 7 of them at one time.
That's right.
There were De La Rosas everywhere you
Well,
looked.
there was Jorge and Ruby, and there was one matchup at minimum I can remember.
Yeah, where they played each other.
Yes.
They faced each other, yeah.
And we had a probables that day.
It was so good. We were just downright giddy. Look at this. De La Rosa versus De La Rosa. Oh, this is heaven. Who's pitching? De La Rosa. Oh, that's fun. But, yeah. Listen, for all the injuries and the strikeouts and the lack of hitting and all these conversations, I don't know, man. This is not matching up for me. I watch baseball all the time. It's infinitely entertaining. There's hits galore when I watch. Where are these games where nobody's hitting? Every time I watch, everybody hits. It's a hit bonanza when I watch. Contact all over the place.
I agree. I have seen an inordinate amount of games that have a lot of scoring, a lot of singles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just home runs, like singles, guys take second. Well, the Mets run the bases, though, so I'm lucky. They try.
The Pirates have to because they
Yeah.
don't have a lot of home run
Right.
hitters, so they're active as hell.
That's probably what it is. Like VR goes on the bases. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It used to be like this with every team.
Well, I know it's anecdotal, but I'm telling you, when I watch the games, and again, I'm watching a lot of Pirates baseball, we're not good. We get beat all the time and score a few runs. But whoop the bat on the ball, and we steal bases, and we're active. I don't know, man. Every time I tuned in a little bit to the Mets Rays, I was like, oh, I'll watch some of this. I mean, the Rays were certainly hitting.
Oh, yes, they were.
There
Yes.
was hitting all over the place.
We got seal clubbed, as Lita Kemper likes to say. That's what we got.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm watching. I guess and I'm not trying to be an ass. Matthew, tell me, is that still happening with you guys? Like, you don't score ever? Is that right? Phillies?
Yeah, he's confirming. You are correct.
Yeah, I thought that I saw that. I didn't.
That's us, too. I mean, we just pitch really well, typically, unless we're pitching to the Rays.
The Rays wanted to see more of that Mets pitching this
Yes, they
weekend.
did.
were
They
like,
wish it was a
"All
5-game series."
They were like, man, this has been fun.
But the problem for baseball with me is now, I mean, listen, the Lightning game last night was epic, but the whole weekend was good, the playoffs. So now baseball will be like the extra
on the back
channel.
burner for a while.
It's the extra channel for about 2 months, yeah.
You know what, by the way, we've got to give out some Big Daddy J's here in the coming days.
Let's take a look at tonight's matchups.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
start
have a
doing
good
it for the
feel
rest
for
of the week.
this series.
Yeah, we got to get some Big Daddy J's out there to the people. I will tell you something, too. The whole playoffs, I watched a lot of hockey this weekend. I was like, okay, this is good. It's on now. Let's go. I was ready for this.
That Boston-Washington series is good.
That's good.
So if you're looking for
and
two
the
series.
Islanders beating Pittsburgh was fun to watch, too.
Yes, it was.
I was surprised by that.
So Jerry is no good. Those first 3 goals, I thought that 4th goal is unlucky. You can't get beat short side. I was actually debating this with Tim this morning. I was texting him, a resident Penguins fan here in Tallahassee. Those first 3 goals for the Islanders were all weak. Like, they were all low minor league weak.
Well, they went high side on him on the right-hand side, over his right shoulder a couple times.
He's also got his arms flapping open like chicken wings. Like, hey, man.
A lot of spaces to score.
You got to tuck a little bit.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah. A lot of space to score there.
Made for great theater. And then, yes, if you're looking for 2 series where you say, all right, their next opponent is going to get an advantage early on because of the war that this is going to be, it's Florida-Tampa and it's Washington and Boston. The winner of that series is going to be exhausted.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. And I think this Florida-Tampa series, which was riveting, that was as good a hockey as I've seen in a long time. The energy is great. Florida's bringing all the energy and angst of a little brother to this thing, and it's fun to watch, and they should. I mean, it sounds so condescending, and I'm sure it is, but honestly, I mean, you're trying to knock off the world champions in the state as well, and you haven't done anything in 25 years. So there's real anger, and they want to break through, and you can feel it. It's palpable, and they're skilled, and they're fast, and they're well coached, and so it's going to be great.
That is easily, and I've watched every single. I can start to feel old now because I've watched every single Lightning playoff game in their history. 96 was the first time they played, so I could say that. That's the most entertaining one by far. Most entertaining. Was it the best one? No. But what is it? Because of the chaos factor, there were so many mistakes. There were sloppy moments from both teams that generated crazy chances.
Well, they were so eager to hit one another, they'd leave their man. I mean,
that happened on an Odd Man for us. Pure entertainment value-wise, that's the best one I've ever seen. Now, that's not the way you coach it, but if you're just sitting back, when we're losing 4-3, I still turn to my dad, I'm like, this is unbelievable. This game is amazing.
Well, okay, so a couple things going to happen here. I mean, the intensity of last night in the fights and everything that happened, the Panthers are going to back off that some because when they put themselves behind the 8 ball by putting us in the power play, I mean, it's a goal. You're giving up a goal here. You're giving up a lot of chances, let's put it that way, because the Lightning's power play is the best in hockey, and it's really not close, and it's unreal to watch. So when you're watching that, you're like, every second you see us in the power play, you think, well, here comes a goal. Here comes a goal. I mean, you just feel that way.
Well, okay, you can put it very simply. This is easily the best one I've seen, and the next closest is probably Pittsburgh from the 90s. But you've got 2 surefire Hall of Famers in the circles. You've got another surefire Hall of Famer on the point. Mm-hmm. And then Braden Point is on his way towards being a surefire Hall of Famer because of what he's done solely in the playoffs. So you might have 4 Hall of Famers on one power play in one given moment, and they're all in their prime at the same time. That's absurd. That does not happen, ever.
Yeah, and when, the fact that Kucherov comes back and looks like he hasn't missed a game, and then that makes Braden Point better. I mean, everything about that was so fun to watch. And, I know Stammer's over there just firing away on that left side, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, you have to respect that.
You have to sag.
You have to respect that.
It opens up the seam.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But that series is going to change a little bit because I don't think the Panthers can afford to turn it into a brawl. With the penalties, they put themselves in a terrible situation. And I like us in 4-4, even though they're faster. I'm okay with us.
We played 4-4 really well last night.
We're also more skilled.
We're more skilled.
They're faster.
They're faster.
They're faster.
Yeah. Now, somebody said this morning, I forget who, it's like, well, Florida's not that fast. No. And given that our future Hall of Fame defenseman is hurt, we're slow on the back end. In terms of counter plays, they're going to continue to feast on that. This is not a dead issue yet.
Vassil played better than he played last night.
He was shaky.
He was shaky last night. That fourth goal was terrible.
His best save was the last big one he had, which was where we collapsed wrong and we gave up. It was a backhander.
Yeah.
He's a little lucky there. He's just kind of in position to catch it.
He makes a nice play though.
But he does get over. Yeah.
No, he actually came on strong when we needed him to come on strong in the last 5 minutes. He made 2 or 3 really nice.
Yeah, there was one save on a cross ice pass and he pushed off from his right to his left brilliantly.
And it's so easy.
Because early in the game he wasn't square to a lot of the shooters. No. Like those goals weren't terrible, but there were 3 or 4 other shots where I'm like, oh, he's not seeing it at all. And it's very apparent with him. It's really apparent when he's not right. You can easily see it.
But we won a game when he wasn't right.
That's correct.
That's huge.
And when there should be a ton of freaking rust on our skates because of all the guys that have been out. No, if you're Florida or a Florida fan, you're like, oh no.
Yeah,
they're going to get better as the series goes along, though.
Yeah, but you saw enough good to have hope that. I mean, this is probably a 7-gamer. It feels like it could be.
But they've got to win 4 out of 6 now, and we're going to get better. One would think as the season wears on.
Well, we could also sweep them, Tom. We could sweep them. I mean, that's the other part of this. You win game 2. Here comes the sweep.
I'm cringing and just waiting for it. Is Radko Gudas, who's a former Bolt? He's going to concuss somebody.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's somebody that's inconsequential. But that dude he's going to impale somebody or concuss them. That's what he does.
Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. And as we sign off, I hope that somewhere you and I are checking a 2-0 lead for Florida State's soccer team as they go on to get ready to win the national championship. That's what I'm hoping is happening right now.
I hope it's as dominant as that golf effort out there at Seminole today.
It's a beautiful thing.
The legacy.
Beautiful thing. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Be well.